Hey, what's up YouTube? Baldur here, and I am in the Mooney, I believe it is the M20J, which is, from the looks of it, a pretty old aircraft. This is actually an aircraft made by Carenado, or the model is made by Carenado, and it looks like a very old plane. Now, I don't know much about Moonies, but I will tell you that this specific plane has a retractable landing gear, which from what I've seen, is kind of unusual when it comes to single-engine propeller planes. Which is perfectly fine, because when we have a retractable landing gear, then that pretty much reduces the drag, which is always a good thing. But anyway, I am at San Diego International Airport. You probably couldn't tell because, let's put it this way, there are no buildings. I tried to get some default or some downloadable scenery, but it doesn't seem like I got anything. But either way, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start this thing up. I don't have any checklist, so what I'm just going to do is that I'm going to turn on all the stuff needed. Then I'm going to get the magneto started. And come on. There we go. Whoa. Looks good. Get our mixture adjusted as well. Turn on our instruments. Then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do a little flight from San Diego's airport all the way to Long Beach's airport. So let's see if I can get this thing going. Alright, there we go. Now we're ready to taxi. Nothing much that I'm really going to do in terms of pre-takeoff. Doesn't really seem to be necessary when it comes down to it. At least not for what I'm doing. It's just going to be a very basic VFR flight from San Diego to Long Beach. Nothing too spectacular, but I'm going to be trying this aircraft, seeing how much faster this thing is going to be as opposed to, let's say, a Cessna 172, that is. Probably be nothing compared to a Cessna Citation, but, you know, that's just being really anal about things. Alright, so let's take a look. The mixture's good. Let's take a look at our altimeter. Altimeter 3001 is the current. Alright, there we go. I don't... hold on. That is not correct. San Diego's airport is not 100 feet above the ocean, unless I am mistaken. Oh well. Maybe it's an outdated METAR that I'm using. Who knows? Let's not hit those things. That would be really bad. Why the fuck they're even there to begin with, why the taxiway can even go there is beyond me, but oh well. It's not the worst thing in the world. Let's go ahead and get ourselves lined up with the runway. speed up. Rotate. Alright, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is that I am going to keep the landing gear up for quite a while, and there's a method to my madness, and let me just turn that down a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to put the landing gear up. There we go. Now things are pretty good. Now the reason why we do this is because when you retract the landing gear, it's easy to think that you do that immediately after takeoff. And if you're in a jet, that would be the case, because there are two V-speeds to take into consideration when we're talking about jets taking off. We have V1 and rotate. V1 is basically the point in time where you are dedicated to taking off from the runway. That is the point of no return, and you'd have to have a seriously catastrophic failure of whatever before you'd even consider abandoning the takeoff at that point. However, that's not always well, that's not the main important V-speed. The really important V-speed would be VR, which is rotate. I have never once seen a situation where V1 happens after rotate. It's almost always before. Now, when it comes to a propeller plane, that's not exactly the case. Even if I took off and had an engine failure, I could easily have landed on that runway given enough time. And the reason for that is because with a propeller, there really isn't a V1 for quite a while. And when it comes to the gear, you have to keep the gear down until you run out of all available runway and everything is good to go, you're ascending, things like that. So, in other words, you have to keep the landing gear up at least for a little while before, or landing gear down at least for a little while you're taking off in a plane like this. Just simple, I guess, deductive reasoning or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to be flying up the coast. I'm going to probably level off at 3,500 feet. Yeah, I'd say that's fair. And it's been so long since I've flown, I forgot which even and odd 1,000 feet there are when it comes down to VFR flight. It's something that I never really paid attention to. So I don't know if 3,500 is correct. I do believe it is from east to west, so I'm probably correct on that part. I could be wrong, so don't hold me against it. Oh boy, my GPS absolutely hates me. There we go. Everything seems to be looking good. Hope you guys enjoy the California countryside as well. This really isn't the countryside, to be honest. This is more of the... I I guess I could fly over the ocean, but I'd rather at least keep the coastline in view. That way, if there's anything like an engine failure, or really an engine failure, then I can find a place to land this thing and everything will be alright. But so far, I know this is old, I know it looks old, but at the same time, this looks pretty cool. Old Carenado Mooney. I mean, if I ever get the money to get my own plane, I'm just gonna buy one of these old Moonies off of someone. Maybe old, but goddamn it, it looks pretty awesome. Then retrofit it with a mode C transponder and a GPS, because, you know, I really don't want to fly without one of those. I'd be golden. So far, everything seems to be fine. Alright, well, I guess now should be a good time for me to explain my absence. Basically, I have been working my ass off at work, so I haven't really had enough time to make videos. And right now is my weekend. My weekend is Sunday and Monday, so I'm thinking about maybe doing a live stream. But I actually want to do a live stream on Hitbox more than I want to do one on YouTube. And since I am friends with this YouTuber named Top Hats and Champagne, I'm hoping that I could get into his little Hitbox group and, you know, go from there. That's just a thought, not for today, but, you know, for the future. As you can tell already, this plane is going quite a bit faster than what you'd expect from, let's say, a Cessna. Cessna, you'd be in the... is that an adjustable airspeed indicator card? Oh, yes it is. Alright, that's cool. Anyway, distractions aside, basically, you'll notice that the Mooney is quite a bit faster than the Cessna. And I'm not really pushing the engines that much, I'm just flying along the coastline, and everything seems to be quite well. Things are going much faster than I thought. So, with that said, I'll just keep this path going. And it says 50 nautical miles. Alright, well, if it really wants me to, I guess I will go ahead and fly direct to Long Beach. I was thinking about maybe adding the Oceanside VOR and flying en route there, because that would keep me near the coast, but apparently this doesn't want me at the coast. It wants me to fly away from it. Yeah, 50 nautical miles. I should get there in about 30 minutes. Everything works out fine. Now, truth be told, I've been having some graphics issues when it came to X-Plane, and I'm really worried that it might have to do with recording, unfortunately. Because what I've been experiencing with X-Plane is that it really tends to drain your memory, and when I mean your memory, I'm not talking about the RAM, I'm talking more specifically about the VRAM, my video card. And since I'm running a GTX 970, that's going to say quite a bit. Yeah, I'm going a nice steady 110 knots, so it shouldn't take too long. Oh no, wait, that's not that is not my ETA, or that is not my... Oop, small little... Okay, that should make it a little bit easier. Just made a little small error on my part, but yeah, it says that the distance is 61 nautical miles, which is fine. I can work with that. And ground speed is 135 knots, which is absolutely awesome. 136 in climbing. In that case, we are good with that. Okay, so now we're about 4.5 minutes out in our trip to Long Beach. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to change the altimeter to Long Beach's altimeter, which should be 2995. Let's go back here. Okay, there we go. Perfect. I shouldn't be descending just yet, but I am going quite fast, which is fine. I mean, I'm 10 miles out, 4 minutes out, and in fact, I think I see the airport right there. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, I am going to be landing pretty close. And is that a texture pack I added? I have absolutely no clue. On the left. That's a little weird, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to it unless it really freaks the fuck out, but I doubt that will be the case. That is not the airport. That, however, is the airport. That thing is screaming at me to lower my gear, and I don't think I should. Oh, let it scream. Now, am I certain that is Long Beach and not LAX? That is a good question. Oh, looks like Long Beach to me. That is not Long Beach, that is another airport. Yeah, I kind of need to slow down a little bit just to add some flaps, is the only thing. Plus, I should probably put my landing light on. No? Oh, okay, shit. I thought I was going to lose this flight, which may or may not happen. Alright. There we go, added some flaps. Good, now that finally shut up. I am a little bit low for this approach, but I should be fine. Just need to make sure I don't descend even more. There we go, and the entire time I forgot to turn the fuel pump off, but oh well. It's not the worst thing in the world. The fact that I didn't need a checklist kind of shows me that, I could do things alright. I gotta love the X-Plane 10 textures, the default textures. Basically, in order for you to get any type of performance and not have your video card crash and burn, is if you have a texture pack or something like that. Which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. But I'm going to go ahead and land. As you can tell by the 4 red dots, I am landing a little bit low. So what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to cut back on the throttle, but at the same time, I'm also going to keep the nose up. That'll bleed my airspeed all nicely. I can get back on the glide slope. Things are starting to look pretty good. Landing a little high, and I suspect I'm also landing a little too fast. Thank you, inner marker. Luckily, this runway is quite long. And there we go. Came in a little slow, but that's alright. Apparently this plane also has a faster takeoff and landing speed than the Cessna 172. I did not know that, but then again, I'm not entirely surprised either. But I'm just gonna turn off the runway, get myself situated, and then taxi to the parking area, wherever that may be. So let's go ahead and take a look. Bring the RPMs up a little bit. Bring up the flaps. Going to turn off the fuel pump. Gonna turn off the landing lights. Don't need the nav lights either. Yes, there we go. This is the Mooney 20J, I believe. Yeah, in fact, it says so right there. Very interesting plane. I've always been interested in Carenado's airplanes, but I've never really gotten into any of them. But thank you, Fergal Sim, for letting me know about this company. And thank you, Carenado, for making a pretty good airplane. I mean, this is one of our older ones, and still, this amazes me. But enough kissing ass. But anyway, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to leave you with that. So like and favorite this video and subscribe. You guys, have a nice day.